Hello, everybody. So, today I really want to talk about packages, specifically NPM packages and how they can really weigh down your application. And from there, we're going to go into a conversation basically about choosing technologies, and not just technologies with something like Quasar or JavaScript related stuff, but other technologies as well, because this is a problem that I've actually run into today. So, when you're starting a new JavaScript project, it can be very tempting to just jump into NPM and pull in packages all over the place. And honestly, I used to be a huge culprit for this. When I first started the company, I started working at the company I'm currently working at. One of the large packages that I brought in was Moment.js. Now, granted, one of the reasons I brought in Moment.js, I was aware that it was a large package. However, the company I was working at, the stuff that we were doing was very in-house, and we were building a PWA, and we've got somewhere around 300 to 400 high-paying clients. And so due to the nature of the application, they would download the application once, and once they had Moment.js, it would be cached. And so that wasn't really much of an issue for us. However, I decided later on, this kind of isn't cool. I still want to give the best experience possible. And so I decided to swap out Moment.js for Day.js. So Day.js has the exact same API as Moment.js. There might be a couple of differences here and there, but you can almost directly swap it out. However, Day.js is way more tree shakeable. It's got a much smaller file size, and I believe that's because it doesn't include locales, which is a huge part of what Moment.js is. And it's absolutely wonderful. And so now I've just been using Day.js, and you can do some fancy stuff as well to help with tree shaking, which makes it a fantastic alternative to something like Moment.js. And this kind of got me thinking, when we're bringing in new libraries, I think it's really, really important to sort of to put in that little bit of extra research, because when you bring in a new library with NPM, it actually can be a big deal in the long term. And so I wouldn't be pulling things in all over the place, just trying to solve your problem. For example, another example of this is dealing with money. Make sure that it's hitting all your use cases, of course, and use cases that you are likely to hit in the sort of short to medium term future. But it's also important to look at other things like, is this a utility library? Can I just pull out the functionality I need, or do I have to pull in the entire project? I'll give you another example, Lodash. Lodash is massive. However, there's a library called Lodash ES, which is basically ES modules for Lodash, meaning that you can use individual Lodash functions and maintain an incredibly small file size. We use this at work, and it is absolutely wonderful. And honestly, it's more enjoyable to use than normal Lodash, because I don't even prefix it. I just pluck out the thing I need directly from Lodash ES. So for example, get, I'll pull get out of Lodash ES, and I'll just use get directly. Some people say that's not good. It's better to sort of call it, for example, underscore get. I really don't agree with that. I think it's so blatantly obvious what Lodash functions do. And anyone who's working for the company I work for, they're going to know what Lodash is, and they're going to be able to notice these tools. But anyway, that was a bit of a side note. So yeah, just some things to think about. Can I maintain a small file size with this package? What else is available? What other alternatives are there? There's actually quite a few date libraries. And you know what? On that, Quasar actually has a phenomenal date utility library built into it. So for 99% of use cases, you can just pull out the functions you need from Quasar's date utility library. And I believe the reason that Razvan included that was because there's too many date libraries out there that are trying to do too much. But Razvan's utility library is just fantastic. You just pull out exactly what you need, and you don't end up with a crap ton of code that you don't need. And so that's actually, we can kind of go through a process here. The first thing I do is say, can you just use the JavaScript date object? Because it's pretty good. Otherwise, look at using Quasar's date utility libraries. And they're super, super easy to use. And then, if that's not enough, then you can start reaching for something like Day.js or Moment.js. I wouldn't touch Moment.js anymore, to be honest, unless you desperately need some of its functionality. But then you can look at using something like Day.js. And so, yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Start really small and choose the package that just solves the problems that you need. Or alternatively, you can get these larger package libraries as long as you can just pluck out the stuff that you actually need to work with. And another reason, the reason I actually thought to do this podcast is today I was looking into streaming services that allow me to stream to multiple platforms. And I really believe that it is worth putting in the extra effort to get the correct service. Try them all out. Just create a trial for all of the accounts because they almost always have one. So one of them is StreamYard I've been looking at. Another one is Melon. And there's another one I think called like Restream or something. Anyway, there's quite a few there. I just try them and just go, well, is this one doing everything I need? Can it stream to all the platforms that I need? No. What's the price of this one going to be? This one is a little bit better, but it's incredibly pricey. Is it really worth paying that extra like $30 or $40 a month? Considering that this other one does exactly what I need anyway. So, weighing up all of those different options, it really is worth putting in my opinion, that little bit of extra research to find the thing that is right for solving your problem. So, hope you enjoyed this one as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Check out quasarcast.com/register if you want to watch some videos on Quasar. And by the way, I just want to reiterate this. Check out Quasar's utility function libraries. It's got a couple. There's one for dealing with colors, there's one for dealing with dates, and there's a few other ones there. I think there's one for scrolling as well. They're really, really cool, and you'll be surprised what functionality is included with Quasar. And it also makes me feel good knowing that that functionality is going to work across the different platforms because it was built for Quasar. So definitely check out Quasar's date utility library in the docs. And once again, quasarcast.com/register if you're interested in this kind of stuff. And I'll see you in a future podcast. Oh, and remember, there is nothing you can't build.